Chatterbait. Chatterbait season is here. What? Wait, what? That's a trick. That's a trick because it's always chatterbait season. Chatterbaits work great in the pre-spawn period. A lot of people know. I mean, they work year round. I think that's kind of common, but the post-spawn is also another great time. When those bass get up there and they're running around bluegill around the bank, that can be another great time for the chatterbait. So we're going to talk trailers, chatterbait trailers. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on chatterbaits, and then I'm going to explain to you some of the different ones. I mean, as you can see, I've got a handful of them here, and there's a bunch of different ones that I use them for different reasons. I'm going to explain to you why, and hopefully you can make a better decision on what you're going to put on the back of that chatterbait. Now, first of all, the chatterbait for me is the Zman Jack Hammer chatterbait, and yes, it is ludicrously expensive, but it is worth every penny. That Gamakatsu hook on there, it's a custom hook. No other chatterbait has it, and I have just had unbelievable luck with hookups and fish staying on, and it's got the right action. I mean, that's not the only one out there. There's other ones that definitely will work and will get bit, and all these principles apply to those as well. But chatterbait, the Zman Jack Hammer is the one I like. So now that we're getting into the trailers, we've got colors. You know, you got to match the trailer to the color or whatever. Okay, got that. But the principle of the chatterbait, and one of the things that I look at real sharp when I'm choosing a trailer is I do not want that trailer to impede the action. Now on a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce jackhammer chatterbait, if you just you put no trailer on it, just the skirt, and you throw that bad boy out there and you start reeling it, you'll see, if you get clear water, you'll see that chatterbait will be vibrating like this, and then all of a sudden it'll boop boop, it'll jump left and right. To me, those are reaction kicks, and those little reaction kicks, man, that's what triggers those bass to bite it a lot of times. I know some people, they'll throw the chatterbaits with no skirts, with no trailer. I've done that. If you're casting in open water, that's okay, but a lot of times for me the trailer helps make it a better package. You can cast it better, you can skip it a lot better with a trailer on it, and that's one of the reasons I like the trailer. So I don't want a trailer that's going to cause too much resistance and too much drag in the water, so that it's going to keep that thing, going in a straight line. I do not want that. I'm going to have that chatterbait trailer. So on this one right here, this is the bluegill colored jackhammer right here. I've got a shrapnel colored Shockwave 3.5. The Shockwave 3.5, it's a little missile baits swim bait, but it's a small one, and it doesn't have a huge big paddle tail on the back like a Kitech. I mean, we all know Kitechs are great swim baits. I just don't like them as much because you lose some of that kick. I don't like them as much for a chatterbait trailer because you lose some of that kick, those reaction kicks from your chatterbait. You lose some of that when you have that bigger, bulkier trailer on there that has more resistance. That's not, in my opinion, what you want. Will they still bite it? Yes, they will. But you want something that they're going to bite at a higher rate, something that has more action. That's what I want. I want something that has more action, and that's probably that Shockwave 3.5 is probably my number one. Here's that bad boy in chartreuse and white. As you can see, it is just, it's a little slim swim bait, and the tail on it, it doesn't have it'll kick at really slow speeds. So when you stop reeling the chatterbait and the chatterbait's just sinking, that tail will still kick on the way down. I think that's a big key in whatever you're putting on there. If you've got a bunch of those easy swimmers from Kitech, that's more of what I think would be a better action. But the thing about the easy swimmers is it's a slimmer body, and the Shockwave has a little bit thicker body, so that helps you with your casting and your skipping immensely. And so that's why I like the Shockwave a little bit better. That's my number one choice. But there are times when I do not want the Shockwave, and those times would be if I want something that has a longer profile. If I want that longer profile, I'm going to go with like a longer quiver quiver worm and just take like an inch or so off, and you can put, you know, if you put that on the back of a 1/2 ounce jackhammer, I mean, you can see that's going to extend that profile and make it a lot longer. And that long skinny tail on that quiver, ridiculous. Ridiculous. You see it in the water, it is unbelievable, ridiculous. In the Bassmaster Classic here in 2020, I used that combination of the quiver 6.5 on a jackhammer to catch the biggest bass of the day on day 3. It was a 610. I caught fish on it on that combo, the days 1 and 2 of the Classic as well. So it's, you know, it's proven. It's got a track record of doing what it's supposed to do. And then, you know, there's times when I might go with that smaller quiver. In that smaller quiver, you might say you don't have to pinch it down, but the tail section is not as long as the 6.5. So that 6.5 tail section, being that it's a little longer, it's a little more wavy. It's a little more wavy in the water, and it's just, like I said, it's just amazing. Holds up really well. You can catch a whole lot of fish on it. You know, and this is kind of the original. You know, before I kind of skipped over this, but this is the original. This is the Lake Fork Magic Shad. This is the smaller version, the one that Brett Hite and a lot of people have kind of, you know, coined as the standard. I mean, you can't knock Brett Hite's track record with this thing, with that Magic Shad on the back. I mean, he has caught just a load of fish on it. Ridiculous. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because it does, but that little bit bigger one, they've got these little segments in that, and you can see the segments help it give it that action that it needs. But the bigger one, I think has a little too much resistance to me, and that bigger Magic Shad has too much bulk in the actual bait that threads on the hook, and I think that impedes your hook sets, because you'll see all these baits that I'm talking about here from Missile are not bigger, bulkier baits. So when that fish comes up and grabs, you know, when that fish comes up and grabs that right there, you can see that hook is hanging way out. That little shockwave is not big and bulky, and it does not, you know, impede that hook set at all. I mean, I've just caught 4s and 5s and 6s like crazy with that as my combination. So when I want to get to some other trailers, you've got the Missile Baits Twin Turbo. Any kind of twin tail on the back is what I want when I want to keep that chatterbait up higher in the water column. Like I may be fishing over top of a grass that's only a foot or 2 in the water. I want something that's going to have the twin tails, because those twin tails are going to act like a plane on the back of a boat or on the back of a motor. They're going to help keep that bait from sinking down in the water. And so the twin turbo or any twin tail bait is what I would like to keep that bait up. Now, on the contrary, when I want to fish that thing slower and a little bit deeper, the shockwave is a good option, but we don't have the shockwave colors in darker bait. So if you want to go into a darker bait, the Crawfather has really good action on the end here, and it's the right size. And if you want something, you know, like that's the El Diablo, if you want that, like that fire crawl, looks good with that fire crawl, you know, trailer on there. But sometimes you want the trailer to help keep the bait sink faster, because it's not a lot of resistance. I mean, you can see it's kind of streamlined, not a lot of resistance in those little claws, so it's not going to keep that bait up. When I want something to keep the bait up, I'm going to go more in the with the twin turbo. If I want more something all around and I want it to have that wild kick action, I'm going to go with that Shockwave 3.5 or the Quiver 6.5, Quiver 4.5. So that's kind of my overall synopsis of my chatterbaits. And you can see this is my jackhammer box. There's about $4 million in jackhammers right there, and 17 cents in trailers on top of them right there. Yes, 17 cents of trailers, and $3 million in jackhammers right there. So yeah, I help pay a couple pro staff payments for Luke Clausen and you know, Mark Daniels Jr. By purchasing all of these. And yeah, those are good guys down there at Zeeman, and they make a good product. So it's easy to talk about and tell you the trailers that I use to catch more fish on that chatterbait. So you kind of understand those principles. Consider your you know, your trailer on the back of your chatterbait a tool a little bit more, and you'll catch more fish on it. So be sure to you know, hit me down there in the comments. I'd like to hear what your favorite chatterbait trailer is. I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all list. I want to hear what your absolute go-to chatterbait trailer is. Hit it down there in the comments, and I will see you next time.